Never thought I'd be making a video about money. I make financially questionable decisions all the time. I'm also an impulsive shopper, but after reading some comments in my previous video, I realized that just maybe, maybe I'm not the worst one when it comes to finances. If you are a designer like me and financially irresponsible like me, this video might be able to help you. Okay, so let's apply design thinking to a real world financial problem. Something that some of you mentioned in the comments of my last video. Let's think the scenario. You've got a house on EMI because society told you it's the right thing to do. Then you got fired. Now you have an EMI to pay, but no steady income. So that's a real problem. And at this point, you are desperate for a job. It would even if it pays less than you were getting in your last job, for example. So let's start from there. Number one, measure your runaway. Figure out how long you can survive with your current savings. This will tell you how urgent it is to start earning again. If your runaway is super short, then you have to panic. Number two is worst possible scenario strategy. In design thinking, there is an ideation technique where you start from the worst idea and build from there. Here, let's assume the worst possible situation. You have zero money left. What do you do? Since you have zero money, step one would be get any money flowing. Small gigs, freelance projects, selling that camera that you never used. This one is already, I'm using this one, but I use this rarely. Whatever it takes, basically. No leverage here, just survival mode. Step two, work on scaling up. So once you have a basic income stream or survival cost, so to say, start building your portfolio and improving your skill. Step 3, apply, and apply. Job market sucks, right? Keep trying. Also network like crazy. Most of my jobs came through networking or referrals, including the current one, the one I work at. Step 4, be persistent. It's going to be a rough phase, but it won't last forever. Number 3, if you have any backup fund, if you have some money saved, you have a bit of leverage here. Use that time to job hunt wisely. Don't jump on the first offer. Negotiate, consider your options, and make informed decisions because you have the leverage here. P.S. Switching jobs too often sometimes is a red flag, but employers do understand that sometimes due to culture, salary, and other factors can make you leave. What I would actually do. Now let's be honest, I wouldn't be in this situation because I don't take things on EMI unless I already have the money. Maybe I'm paranoid, but I don't like unnecessary financial stress. Here are some principles that I follow which might be helpful. Consider these as tips basically. Number one, don't take loans based on future incomes. As designers, we think, oh, I have a stable salary. I should be able to pay this off. I can totally pay this off basically. But in the reality, jobs aren't that secure. Personally, I avoid loans unless I have the full amount ready to go. Maybe that's why I'm still broke and I don't have any house or any cars or whatsoever. I have a scooter though, but that's actually a cheap one. Number two, always have 6 months survival fund. If you watched my previous videos, which are in Bangla unfortunately, but if you will know that I preached this always, like having a 6 months backup money, it will give you a peace of mind. Though due to inflation it will lose some of its value, still I would definitely recommend this. Number 3, passive income, gigs and networking. Right now I don't have any passive income sources, but hosting assets on UI8 or Envato Elements is a good idea. But remember, passive income takes effort. So maybe that's why I don't have any. Another strategy is taking small side gigs every now and then, or just networking to keep the doors always open. I discussed about these 3 points in the first part of this video. But even if you are not in that situation, This is always helpful. Having an options makes a huge difference. If you suddenly lose your jobs, at least you will have something to fall back in. Number 4, dealing with emergency expenses. Emergencies will happen. Your laptop might die, a medical bill might pop up, your wife might need a surgery or something like that. That's why, aside from my survival fund, I try to keep a small emergency fund, especially for these situations. It might not be enough to cover everything, but at least it gives you a starting point. Number 5, diversify investments. Okay, I'm sharing these tips like I follow every one of them, but that's not the case here. But everyone in finance says to diversify. In Bangladesh, low risk investment aren't great. Here's what I have considered: land, land, real estate, or something like that. Expensive, paperwork is a nightmare, and not liquid, meaning you cannot like encash that immediately. But solid long term option, obviously. But you will need a huge amount of money. Stock market. Bangladesh stock market is a wild place. If you are investing, talk to someone who invests in that regularly and who knows what they are doing. I'm not sure about that, so I don't invest, and we can't invest in international markets due to international regulations or our regulations, basically. Apps like iFarmer or Jomijama or something like that, but all of them isn't so trustworthy. They provide low return, but still a viable option. Banks and bonds, not the best in terms of returns, but at least somewhat to keep up with the inflation that we are facing. Even though the inflation might be higher in Bangladesh, I personally try to avoid FDRs and Sanchai Patra for religious reasons, but you do you. To be honest, as I said, I don't invest much. Why? A mix of reasons: trust issues, lack of time to research properly, and honestly, the mental effort of navigating investment options in Bangladesh. I feel like it's a high friction process where the risk outweigh the returns, at least for me. So inflation is actively robbing me, but I'm still figuring out a balance. Let me know in the comments. Where should I invest? Also, just a footnote: don't even think about investing unless you have a 6 months backup fund fully covered. Number 6, embrace minimalism. Though I impulse buy a lot, but I really, for you, don't buy things you don't need. A good rule: if you can't buy a thing twice without worrying, you probably shouldn't buy it. But there's an exception: your work tools. A good laptop, that's a solid investment, not an expense. For example, upgrading to a faster and more efficient machine can save hours of work every week, translating into better productivity, less frustration, and potentially more earnings. So the same logic applies for design software, a quality monitor, and even a ergonomic chair that prevents long-term health issues. Number 7, uh, earn more while living comfortably. Maybe I could save more, but I prefer more comfortable, not luxurious, but comfortable life. Yes, some financial gurus might disagree, but I like enjoying the present. Now, let's talk about money guilt. Ever felt guilty for spending on things you enjoy? Like you could save this money, but instead you are buying that overpriced coffee or a new gadget. Yeah, same. I'm same basically. But here's the thing: it's okay to spend things that makes you happy as long as you are financially stable. If you are in survival mode, then yes, cut unnecessary expenses. But if you are doing okay, don't feel bad about enjoying life a little. So yeah, that's how I manage my finances as a designer. And maybe some things that you should do or follow, try to follow. Hopefully that was helpful or at least entertaining. Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and let's continue the conversation in the comment section.